Hello, welcome to JavaScript tutorial. This is Shareful. This is the continuation of loops or looping statement in JavaScript. In our last tutorial, we have seen while loop, do while loop. Okay, and this lecture we're going to cover for loop, for in loop, and for off loop. Specifically for in loop and for off loop, we know it's specific. This loop is belongs to JavaScript, so we'll see all the for loops, how it works, syntax, and also some example. Okay, so let's see what is for loop. So for loops, it's a loops through a block of code a number of times. For loop is a very common across all programming languages. We know it's loop through a block of code, is execute block of code a number of times, depends on condition. Okay, so let's see what is the syntax. So syntax of the for loop, you can see there's a for keyword, and then inside a bracket there is a three part usually. The statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. So what does it mean? Statement 1, statement 2, and statement 3. So it means statement 1 it's used for initialization, and statement 2 is used for condition, and statement 3 it's used for update. It could be increment or it could be decrement. Okay, and then there is a curly braces and code block that is you need to execute is going to be over here. So statement 1, it's as I said, it's used for initialization, and it's also it's execute only one time before it's execute the block of code. Okay, so this part it's always just execute one time at the beginning of your for loop. Okay, that's all. It will never execute anymore. Okay, so this is the part is execute only one before it's execute this block of code, and this statement 1 it's executed only one time. Doesn't matter how many times it will loop continue. Okay, and statement 2, this is the part is actually your condition. How many times your loop will continue, your loop will execute, it depends on this statement 2, the condition. Okay, and statement 3, it's also the update part. It means it can be increment or it's a decrement part. Okay, so it execute every time after the code block has been executed. So this will execute after this block of code will get executed, and this will execute. So in simply, this is your initialization, or you can say the starting point of your for loop. So it will start from here, whatever you initialize it, like it started to, like we know it's started from 0, 1, whatever you say, and after that this is the condition part. Okay, if the condition is true, your compiler will get inside and it will execute the block of code, this code, and then it will compiler will go back to, it will jump back to the your update or statement 3. So whatever your update, either it's increment or decrement, it will do that, and then it will move back to your condition. So based on your update, it will check your condition. If your condition is true, then it will go inside the the body part, and it will execute the same code again, and then again it will go back to, after the execution is done, it will go back to the update part and it will do the update, and then based on your update it will check the condition. If the condition is true, it will get inside the body and it will execute the body this block of code, and it will keep continue the update part, then check the condition. As long as the condition is true, it will get inside and it will execute this block of code. So if you notice that the statement 1 it just used only once at the beginning and it will never execute, and moving forward it will it will check your code, do the update part, check the condition based on your update, and if true it will get inside, if it's false it will jump out of your for loop. Okay, this is the very simple concept. So let's see an example. So if we want to print again, print 1 to 10 numbers, like 1 to 10. Okay, all the numbers we want to print, the ascending number, the order from 1 to 10. So if we use for loop is very easy to do this kind of job, because okay, so what we can do, so we can use for loop for, and this is my initialize statement 1. You can see statement 1 is used for initialization. So you can see var, I declare a variable I equals to 1, since I have to start print 1 from 1. So that's why I started my journey, it's from 1. That's why I initialize 1 to variable I. Then how long I have to print? I have to go from 1 to 10. So my condition should be equals to 10. So since I equals to 1, so I should be, the condition should be I less than. So since I value of I is always should be less than 10, so that's why I said less than, but it should be up to 10 since I have to cover also 10. So this is my condition, I less than equal 10. Then every time for I equals to 1 is started, but how I'm gonna get the I equals to 2? So I have to increment. So that's why I said I plus plus. This is that. So you can, some case you have to decrement. It depends on your your situation. So here I'm using increment I plus plus, so it will increment by 1. And here is the body of the my for loop, and this is the code that I want to execute every time. So it started with the 1, and then so I equals to 1, I less than equal 10, which is true. Get inside over here. So I declare another variable, it's called num. Okay, the variable, it's another variable. So I'm saying over here, the number is, so number is a string, so this will print plus I. So it will concatenate with I, value of I equals to 1. So number is 1. Okay, then I'm printing console.log, I'm printing this number, so it will print number, the number is 1. Okay, and then it will go back to over here, increment the value of I from 1 to 2. 2 less than 10, less than equal 10, yes, true. We'll get inside. Now num will have the value, the number is okay, number is 2, and it will print the number is 2, and then it will go back. So in this way it will keep continue and increment the value, check the condition up until 10. When it's I equals to 10, it's still true. It will get inside and it will also print the number is 10, and it will go back on 11 time when it's I equals to 11. So this condition, that time 11 less than equal 10, no, it's false. So this time it will jump out from the loop. Okay, so that's the way the for loop it works. So in this time let's go to our play code so that we can do some exercise. So same exercise we can see in a real output. Okay, so we're back to our play code. So here this is our for loop, started with an variable. This is the initialization, var I equals to 1, I less than equal 10, there's I plus plus, and then this is the body, and this is the we declare variable variable v equals to variable num, and then where I'm putting this string as well as the value of I, and I'm printing on my console. Okay, so let's see, let's uncomment this. Okay, and let's run it. You can see it is already over here. The first time when it's get, the number is I equals to 1, so it will print. So because right after this I have the code to print it, it will print. So then it will go back to over here, increment the value of I equals to 1 to now 2. So 2 less than equal 10, it's true. Okay, you see this initialization part will never ever execute after is the first time it's happened. Okay, it will never get back to here, so it will be limited to here. Update to go back to the update part, and then check the condition based on update. So update, it means now I equals to 2, so 2 less than equals 10 is true. Come over here, so now num will have the value, the number is I equals to 2, so number is 2, and it will print like this line, it will print this line. And then again it will go back, increment the value I equals to from now 2 to 3, condition true, and have this now num is now this, the number is 3, and it will print like this line. So this will keep continue up till until 10. Okay, after it's 10 is print this line, like number is 10, print this one, it will go back to over here, I is now 11, and it 11, it will check the condition 11 less than equal 10, no, it's false, then it will jump out from the for loop. Okay, That's the way for loop it works. Okay, and this is the same way it works all other languages too. Okay, I hope you understood, and it's very easy concept. Now let's see the other two types of for loop. So our next type of for loop is for in loop. So the JavaScript for in loop or statement, statement loops through the properties name of an object. So just read again what is for in loop. It is statement this loops through the properties name of an object. So we know in JavaScript you have a you can have an object where object can have a different properties. So properties means it can have a pair of key and value. Okay, so this, if you have any object, an object have a different type of properties, so in that time you can use for in loop to get the value as per your properties of that specific object. Okay, so what is the syntax? The syntax would be again for keyword, then there will be variable var. So var it's the variable what will hold the properties of your object. So your syntax would be for, then whatever the variable you declare bar, okay, then in is the keyword, okay, this is the keyword, and then whatever the name of your object, so whatever the object name. So maybe you will have a variable like a person, variable person equals to, it will have a properties like a first name, last name, age, address, whatever. So first name, this is the key of first properties, and there will be value of the first name. The last name is the key, and there will be value of the last name. You can see over here, right? So that time this is this object, it means is the whatever the object the name, it will be over here, and then this is the code inside the code that you want to execute during your loop through the for in loop. Okay, so what is the example? So example would be print objects key and value. So you will have an object, say example over here, there's a person is an object, why you were saying person is an object, because person have assigned some properties with the value. You can see over here, so it's a first f name, and this is the key, and this is the value, John is the value, and then and separated by comma, this is another key, last L name, and this is the dough, and there's a age is 25. So f name, L name, age, those are the key of three different properties for person object. Okay, and here we're declaring another variable, it's called name age, it's an empty variable, and there is another variable x, didn't assign anything. So we're saying for, if you want to use for in loop to extract the value of those properties of from this person object. So we're saying for, and this is our variable bar, this is the variable bar what will hold the properties of this person object. So x, so this is x, y, z, whatever the variable you declare, that's fine, but you have to use this keyword key in, and then the object name, which is the object name is person, right? This is your object person. So, and inside over here, what is your code? So this means x in person, it means this loop will continue. This loop will continue as long as you have the properties in your this person object, and this x will have the value. Every time loop will continue, the x will have the properties, have the name of the properties, like key, right? So x will hold the key like f name, L name, and then age. So every time it's run the loop, for the first time it will have the x will have the f name, the key, the first key, and it will get inside, it will do the job, it will go back to the person object, and it will check if there is any properties available. Yes, it has another properties, and your key is L name, so x will hold the L name. Okay, and then not the value, but there is a way to get the value, and then it will keep continue. And inside the body I said I declared the name age, so I put the I'm adding the value of key of the person properties. So this I'm adding the value. How I'm adding the value? I'm saying person is the object, a person of x. Person of x, it means x is have the first time, x will have the knowledge about the first key, which is the f name. So person of f key, so it means this is like array, right? It is like array. So when you use array and then your object name and then specific the key, x is now is holding the key first key f name, so it is now have the value is John. Okay, it will have the value of John. So this means a person of x, it means the John. So you are adding John to name is variable. And then if you want to just print your key like f name, l name, so you can print your key, right? So we're saying console.log, so x, it means it's supposed to print the f name, just f name, the key, not the value. And this name age will have the value. And then I'm saying, and then it will keep continue, the loop will keep continue, it will go the next one, and then name age will have the value again, the do, and the similarly x will print the last l name, which is the key. The same way this x will print every time the key, f name, l name, age, and this name age will print at the end, will print John and then do, John, do, and 25 all together. Let's see an example in our play code. So here is the same example we're using over here. Let's uncomment this, and then so let's run it. So you can see it's printing the f name, which is the key, this the key of the first properties, right? And then the key of the second properties and the key of the third properties, because of this statement, right? Because x is holding, just remember, x is not holding the value, x is holding every time the key of the properties. Okay, so every time it's run the loop, it check is there any more properties. Yes, if there is a properties, the properties goes to x, the x is holding the properties. And to get the value of the properties, we have to use this way, the object of the properties. So it depends on the loop, where you are now. If you are accept the properties first properties, so you will have the first time, you will have the value of the first properties, right? So this is the variable like name age will have the value of the first property. So this way it has the first properties. Then loop continue, it runs 3 times. So it's adding, right? Since we're adding, we use the plus sign, so it means every time it's get the value of the first properties, and the next loop it gets the value of the next properties, and the third loop it gets the value of the next properties. So it's adding the value of all 3. It should be finally, this means it should print as John, do, 25 all together. You can see this is the line John, do, 25. Okay, so that's the way for in loop can be very useful if you have a object, if you have the properties of an object. Okay, so let's see the next or the last one, for off loop. So what is for off loop? The for off loop, the JavaScript for it should be for off loop. Okay, it should be for off loop, not the for in loop. For off statement loops through the values of an iterable objects. Okay, it means for off lets you loop over data structure that are iterable, that are travel. It's possible to travel, such as array, string, maps, NodeList, and more. Okay, so it's help you if you have a some data, you have some data structure, data or variable or object that are iterables, such as so array. So we know the array, it has a multiple data in a single variable. It could be single array or dynamic, two-dimensional array, whatever the array, but it's holding multiple multiple values. So that time you have to traverse from one one index to another index. Following index you have to traverse to extract the value, right? So similarly string. So a string, you can have a one single line, you can have a one word, so those are all string. So you have to extract every the value from that string following the index number. Okay, so that time we can use for off loop. Now what is the syntax? The syntax is for keyword, then there will be variable, whatever the variable you declare, then off is the keyword. Okay, also it's a keyword, and then iterable. Iterable, it means whatever the your data structure, it could be your array, it could be your string or maps, whatever it is, it should be over here. Like for in loop we have to use object name. So similarly we have to use your whatever your iterable object, like it's array, string, whatever it is, and then your code block that would be executed every time loops go through for off loop. So example, so looping over an array. So we're using an array. So if you have an array, that time how the for off loop can be useful to extract the data from an array. So here is a we have a car in the car variable, or you can say car and object array, where it has a some values, right? So like BMW, Volvo, Mini, this is the cars array. And now what I'm saying, I declare another variable x. Okay, so x will hold, x we are going to use over here in our for loop, for off loop. So for this is off is a reserved word, and then what is the your array name. So over here iterable, your iterable either array or a string. So in this case we're using cars as an our array. So it's car is over here. Inside this we're saying we're printing the x. In this time x will follow your index, since this is the array. So first and it will have the the value of the index. So first the first times it will check, do we have any next index in this car array. So this x will check first. Okay, yes, you have the index number 0, 1, 2. So you have a first index. Yes, as soon as it says it has the index, then it will have the value of that index. So index 0 have the value, what's the VMW? So VMW will assign to x. So if you just print console.log x, it means it will print BMW. The next, then it will go back to the again your car on the loop. It means it will check your car array again. It will and it will check the next index. Is there any next index available? It will see yes, it is available. So next one is the Volvo, and the value of the index it will assign to x, and you can print it. And so it will keep continuing. It will check the next index. If the next index is available, it will assign the value according to that index to the x variable you declare over here. Okay, this is very simple, but it's more effective and short way to run through run through any array, run through any string, run through any maps or node list to extract the data. Okay, let's see, go back to our play code and see this how it works. So here we back to play code. So here is the same example we just explained. It's let's run it. Let's see. So in this case again, the variable. So this is our variable x. This variable, for every iteration, the value of the next properties, the next value of the next property. So it will check the first is the check the next properties. It started with the next, it means started from the 0. So over here it will check the next properties is assigned to the variable. if there is a available, it will assign to the variable, and your variable can be declared, it can be var, it can be constant, it can be let, whatever you say, it's fine. Okay. And iterable, so we said this is your iterable object like cars. So as I said, your iterable object could be array, string, maps, so iterable as an object, that has iterable properties. So it means it has some properties like, it can traverse from, following the index number, right? It's following the index number, it can traverse, right? So that's the iterable object, so which is are listed mostly, we know, array, string, maps, node list, all those things, right? So let's run this. If we run it, you can see over here, so it's printing, first is printing x, it checked the index. Okay, is there any the properties index available, next index available? Yes, it found this one, so x will have that value, right? So we declare x, so and then so you can print it. So similarly, it go back to over here, and it will be, it will check first the index is available, yes, the next properties is available, and then which is iterable, right? So it means from 0 to next one is 1, so you can have the value which is the Volvo to x. So it's similar, same way it will have the next is mini, and the third time it will go, it will check there is no more other index, so it will jump out of the loop. Okay, the same example, if we want to run, let's see this, let's say that if we want to run same example through a JavaScript, the same, for off loop we can run through JavaScript. So we can add this this code, in our the same HTML file underneath the script. Okay, so let's do over here. So we added another script tag, so and then we declared the same car array, and then the same for off loop, but instead of, since when you add the script, your JavaScript, to embed it to your HTML or host to it your HTML file, that time if you want to, it means it will show the output on your browser, not the console. So to show on your browser, it's like a similar to print, we can use JavaScript default object, which is document.write. So it will have the value of x first, is this one. The concept is same way, and then you can, to make a break, to make a new line, that's the BR, it means break. So it will have a break, it means your loop will, your cursor will move to the next line, and then it will follow the next loop, so it will have the next value, and it will print it, and it will move to the next line. There will have a break. That's why, because these are the BR is the break, it's the HTML command. Okay, let's do it, let's see how it looks. Okay, so this time we have to run over here. It should, you can see all the bottom, so BMW, Volvo, Mini. Okay, because we use document.write, which is the print on your browser. Okay, using JavaScript script tag. Okay, the same way, if you want to do something similar, say we're going to use a instead of array, we're going to use a string. We're going to run a string. Okay, let's put this one so let's see, we're going to say var, we'll say text. So we're going to use this time string instead of this array. See how it works. So we'll say in a string, say JavaScript script. Okay, and then the rest is fine, and then it should be fine. Okay, let's save it and then run it, see how it looks. Okay, it's giving me error over here. Oh, I didn't change this guy. The text should be now our our object is txt, not car, txt, right? And then now this should work. Here we go. You can see now there is a JA. So every time it's extract, because when you have a string, it follows also indexing, right? So first it will extract the J is on the index number 0, then A is the index number 1. So every time it check the your traverse to the first index, and it gets the value which is the Z and puts on X. So X have Z, right? And there is a bar, there is a the break, right? So and then and it's printing, so it's printing this one, and there is a break, so it means it moves to the next line, and then it goes back to the the loop, right? And it's fine. There is another one, so text is nothing, this is string, and it has a next value is available, which is A, right? So A will assign to X, so it will print the A, and then plus there is a a break, so it will have the break, the line will be break, so it will move to the next over here, new line over here. So same way the loop will continue as long as you have the the iterable values, like you can traverse to the next one, and next one have the value, so that value, that properties will assign to X, and it will print. It's so up to, you can see the T is the last one, so after it's T, it go back to again, and it doesn't find any other iterable index, there's no other index available, so then it will jump out from the loop. So that's the way it is printing, right? It is doing the job following for off loop. Okay, so this is very handy in terms of when you have an array, you have a string, you can use easily for off loop to traverse following your index. So that's all about the all different types of for loop. So I think it's easy to understand, and we can use this logic to make our code simple and shorter and more dynamic. Thanks a lot. Stay tuned. There's lots to learn, and if you like the tutorial, you can share with others, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a good one. Bye bye.